guys, so today we're checking out the Barricade HD2 front bumper with LED fog lights in textured black, fitting all 2014 to 2021 Toyota Tundras. So if you're in search of an affordable heavy-duty front bumper, this is going to be a great option to take a look into. Now this will have a sleek and low-profile look to complement the front end of your Tundra, while also giving you some tough protection in the meantime with the steel plate construction. Not to mention, because this is a high clearance bumper, this will give you a ton of space on the outside to help you with clearance, especially with larger wheels and tires. And this is also going to help out your approach angles if you plan or do take your Tundra off-road. Now I do also like that in comparison to some other options in the category for front bumpers, again, this is going to be very compact. Some other choices may sit a little bit lower. They may be a lot larger in comparison to this and have a boxier look, as to where this follows the body lines very nicely and is really tucked up into that front end, again, giving you a very sleek look out of the front end of your truck. Not to mention, aside from the fog light cutouts, this will give you a little bit of a cutout on the side for some additional styling. And again, you are going to get those cutouts for the lights and a large cutout in the center if you'd like to add a light bar in the future. Included in the kit, you'll get two high-powered LED cube lights that will be for the outer corners of this front bumper, and that'll be great if you're not necessarily a fan of your factory fog lights and you want a front bumper that's going to include LED lighting to help out your visibility while you're driving at night. Now when it comes to the construction of the bumper itself, this will be made of a 5/32 inch steel plate material. It's going to have a nice fine textured black powder coat finish on top. I do really like that, considering it gives it a very premium look, but it's also going to do a great job of resisting any rust underneath. The cube lights that are included will be 3 inches, and they're going to be incredibly bright white Cree-LED lighting at 6000 K color temperature, which is extremely white, and it's going to make the light look very crisp and clean, especially on the front of your truck if you want to match it with any other LED lighting. Not to mention, the lights are going to be IP67 rated, which is dust and waterproofed, and they're also going to have a durable aluminum black powder coated housing and a polycarbonate lens. Now, in a nutshell, these are going to be incredibly tough, which is perfect considering the location of the lights, especially if you take your truck off-road. But even on the street, if you do encounter any kick-up, those are going to hold up, especially in the long run. Now, I do like the fact that these also come with a full wiring harness, which will eliminate any confusing wiring and making the install just that much simpler. Now, the bumper will also come with a center cutout, like I mentioned before, if you do want to add a light bar in the future, but it also comes with a nice little mesh screen for the time being that will create a very finished look. Now, I do also like, speaking of add-ons, the ability to build off of this bumper, so you can upgrade it with a bull bar or a skid plate that's specific to this front bumper, but in the meantime, you do get some little rubber inserts to create a very finished look and protect any water from getting down on into the bumper. Overall, this is very solid as far as the construction, the look, and the functionality goes, and I think this is going to be a great choice if you want that at a very affordable price. Now, speaking of pricing, this is going to come in at roughly $1,200, which will be one of your more affordable choices for a high clearance bumper in the category. Now, other options may include different features like recovery, including recovery points or shackles. They may include a winch plate, or they may have additional add-ons like the bull bar or the skid plate that doesn't come in the package here. Now, in my personal opinion, I think if you're not necessarily concerned about that, if you already have recovery points that you're okay with, and you're just looking for something that's going to be high clearance, give you a very sleek look, and comes with a full kit as far as the LEDs are concerned, then this is going to be right up your alley. Now, when it comes to install, like I mentioned, this is going to be pretty straightforward, but I am going to give it a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours to get the job done with the right hand tools, and one of our installers here is going to walk you through that process step by step. So that wraps it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
Tools used for this installation: 3/8 electric impact gun, 10, 13, 14 millimeter ratcheting wrenches, 13 millimeter wrench, 17 millimeter wrench, 10, 12, and 17 millimeter 3/8 sockets, 10 and 13 millimeter 1/4 inch drive sockets, 3/8 extension, 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter, 1/4 inch extension, 1/4 inch ratchet, assorted Allen wrenches from the kit, plastic panel removal tool, and clip removal tool. Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to install our Barricade bumper on our Tundra over here. First thing we're going to do is remove our bumper. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is, now that we have our vehicle up, now we're using a lift. If you're at home, you want to jack your vehicle up, make sure you use jack stands to properly secure your vehicle. We're going to start by removing this push pin, these two 10 millimeters, and one 13 millimeter back here. Once we get those off, then we'll be able to lower our splash guard. So we're going to get started. Now I'm going to take my clip removal tool and remove that push clip. Now that we have that out, I'm going to take my 10 millimeter and remove these two bolts here on my impact gun. So now that we have our two 10 millimeters out, we have our push clip out, we have 3 more bolts, one here, and one here. We have one that's a little different size because ours has been apart a bunch of times, but these are, the rest of these up top here in the front are 12 millimeter. So we're going to remove them with our gun and our 12 millimeter. Now I'm just going to hold this up and remove the last one. I came on this side so I could take a look at it. You're going to have to just lift up and slide it over to your left, and then it should come down. It's kind of got hooks in it that hold it in. And now that we have this removed, we'll go on to our sides and start removing our splash guards. Okay, next what we're going to do is remove our splash guard. We're going to remove these 4 10 millimeters. We have a plastic clip back there and 2 12s and another 10 underneath. Well, first we'll concentrate on these. So I'm going to take my ratchet and 10 millimeter and remove these 4 bolts. Now we have those done, we'll get back there and remove that clip. Now I'm going to take my clip removal tool, get inside here, and pop our plastic clip out. Next, we'll go under the bottom and remove our 2 12 millimeters and the 10 millimeter, holding our splash guard on. Now we're going to remove our 2 10 millimeters underneath here, followed by our 2 12 millimeters. I'm going to take my ratchet, my 10 millimeter socket, now that we have our 2 10 millimeters, I'm going to go into removing our 2 12 millimeters, taking my 12 millimeter socket and ratchet. Now that I have those 2 removed, we should be able to remove our shield and our wheel well, and it should just come off pretty much just like that. Now you're going to want to repeat the same procedure on the other side. So now we're going to remove our 2 electrical connections for our fog lights. There's one here, there's a clip here we're going to have to remove with our clip tool, and there's one up here that we're going to have to disconnect. So I'm going to start by unplugging our fog light, squeeze the tab, pull that off. I'm going to take my clip removal tool and pull that clip out. And then I'm going to go up in here and disconnect this by pushing the tab in and pulling out our harness. And now that we have that disconnected, we're going to move on to removing our tow hooks. Now we're going to disconnect our toe tabs by removing these two 17mm bolts right here. I'm going to take my 17mm on my gun and remove these two bolts. Just going to want to repeat that same procedure on the other side. Next, we're going to loosen the 4 bolts, 3 out here and 1 in here for our bumper brackets. I'm going to take my 14mm ratcheting wrench and get in here and loosen these up. I'm going to remove them all but one and just run one all the way out, but keep threads on it so that the bumper does not fall. And it's pretty good right there. Now we'll get the one on the inside. Now you're going to want to repeat the same procedure on the other side. So now we got everything unhooked. We're going to remove our bumper. I got Joe giving me a hand because this baby's pretty heavy. So we're going to grab it and take it off. Just like that. So now that we got our old bumper off our vehicle, I got our new bumper all laid out here on the workbench. We have some stuff to do on here. We're going to install our fog lights inside here. We have to put some of our mesh screens in. And then we have some of our brackets that we're going to install onto our truck before we install our bumper. So let's get started on this and get this bumper put together. First thing we're going to do on our bench is assemble our fog lights. I'm going to take our nuts and install them down into them slots there. I'm going to kind of just drop them down in, get them to seat. Once I get one in place, I'm going to slide my bracket in place, put my Allen head bolt, and get it started into the nut. Like that. Then I'll come over onto the other side here, drop the nut down in place, same deal. Line the hole up and start running this in. And once I have that snug, you're going to want to just repeat that same procedure on the other light. So now we're going to take our 13mm, now we have our light together, we're going to stick that through here, and then we're going to install it on there and then tighten it up with a 13mm ratchet wrench and a 13mm wrench. I'm going to leave it kind of loose so I can adjust it once it's on the truck where I want it. Now you're going to just repeat the same procedure on the opposite side. Next, we're going to install our mesh screens into place and then install our Allen head bolts with our nuts. We're going to put them in and get them all started, tightened up, and then our mesh screens will be in. So now that I have all the bolts in, we're going to tighten them up. We're going to take our Allen wrench that was supplied in the kit, and I'm going to take a 10mm ratcheting wrench. That one there, I didn't need to actually even put the Allen wrench on. I can hold it with my finger. And now that we have those tight, we're going to go over on our vehicle and start installing our bumper brackets. Next, we're going to install our upper bumper bracket. We're going to put it in place, start our factory nuts that we took off earlier. And what I'm going to do is center this to get it to start. Use my 14mm ratcheting wrench. Snug them in place. And eyeball it so it's straight. And I'm just going to snug them for now so we get the bumper mounted up. Now that we have them snug, we're going to install our lower bracket. So now we're going to install our lower bracket with our tow hook with our two 17mm. Now I'm going to get it in place just like that. I'm going to take two of our 17mm bolts with flat washers and lock washers, put them up in here, and then we'll snug everything up with our 17mm ratchet or impact gun. Now that we have those tight, you're going to want to repeat the same procedure on the other side. So before we put our bumper on, we're going to remove our grill. It's going to make it a lot easier for when we install the bumper, we can work on our hardware. Plus, with our fog lights, we're going to end up running our wiring harness in and then inside to the vehicle. So it's a matter of taking out some 10mm and some push clips. So now I'm going to get started. I'm going to take my clip tool and start removing our push clips. So now I'm going to take my clip tool, remove our push clip on this side. And you're just going to want to repeat that same procedure on the other side. Now I'm going to take my 10mm socket on my impact gun and remove the 4 10mm up top here. So now I'm going to remove the grill, and once I get the grill off, we have a harness back here we're going to remove with my push clip tool, and we're going to pull the whole thing out. So this is going to be hard for you guys to see, but there's a wiring harness that goes down into the grill. I'm going to push on this clip, and it's a little tough to get to, but once you get it, you can pop the wiring harness off so we can remove our grill. Now our grill should come right off. That'll give us access to being able to put our bumper bolts in and get them tight. So now we're going to install our bumper. I'm going to have Joe give me a hand. This thing's pretty heavy. We're going to stick it on, put our bolts in, and get them started. Now we're going to tighten our 3 17mm bolts. I'm going to use my 17mm wrench and 17mm socket on my impact gun and tighten these up. And now that we have those 3 tightened up, you're going to want to repeat that same procedure on the other side, and then we'll go and start tightening up our 14mm that we left loose just to be able to align our bumper. I'm going to use my 14mm ratcheting wrench, tighten up our 4 bolts that we left loose. Now we'll let our vehicle down and start our installation on our wiring harness. So now we're going to run our harness on our fog light. So what I'm going to do on this vehicle, since we're going to be removing this, is I'm going to show you how I would run it. You're going to want to use some wire ties, tie it up. I'm going to show you how I'm going to feed it inside the vehicle, and we'll get everything hooked up, and then we'll be able to reinstall our grill. So now what I'm going to do is take one of our connectors. I'm going to run it over to the other side. You're going to want to make sure you just don't run it somewhere so it gets pinched. And again, on your vehicle, I would tie it up so you can't see it and tuck it out of the way. Then I'll take the second harness that we have here, and I'm going to fish that through the same hole and come down and plug that into our connector there. And again, you're going to want to wire tie it up. Then I'm going to take the excess and tie it up, stick it down inside, and now we'll mount our relay and hook our positive and negative up. So now we're going to take our positive and negative, hook up to our battery and our relay. If we were going to keep this on a vehicle, I would end up taking my ground off right there and mount my relay right there. But for our vehicle, I'm just going to let it stay right there. I'm going to take my 13mm, loosen up my nut on my positive and negative, and install our wires. Now we'll run our on and off switch inside the vehicle. So now what we're going to do is hook up our on and off switch inside the vehicle. Now there is down all the way inside there a rubber grommet. If you want to cut a hole in it, slice it, remove it, and fish your wire through there, you can. On our vehicle, since we're going to be removing this, I found a nice spot where I'm going to run it through the door jamb and under through the dash and back inside. So what I'm going to do is take this and I'm going to fish this down into here and then fish it along the fender area here and up into here. And again, if you want to use wire ties while you're assembling this, that's fine. We're not going to, because we're going to be removing this, but that's how I'm going to stick it for now. And now we'll run it through the jam inside the vehicle. Now I'm gonna run this up. I pulled this rubber grommet out here for the windshield. I'm going to take this and stick it down inside there. Pull just a little bit on the fender so it drops down in, so you won't even see it. I'll tuck that back down in, put my rubber seal back in here, and get that in place. And what I'll do is use a clip tool here, and I'll show you. I'll pry out a little bit, push it down in place. Just gonna use my little plastic clip tool here to tuck this down in place. Pull out a little bit, just like that. And we'll just make sure it's not pinching the wire. Got it pinched. That's a good spot right there. And we'll feed this inside the car. So now I'm gonna take my clip removal tool, pop out this panel. It's gonna give me access to drop our switch through the dash. And I'm trying to fish it through there. Take this and give this some slack. I'm gonna put it behind here so you don't really see it. You wanna make sure that you give it some slack there in the jam so it doesn't pull on it. And we'll reinstall our panel. To behind it. Now we'll pull out our switch and install it and tape it onto our dash. So now we have our wire run. I'm going to remove our covering on our two-phase tape, and I'm going to adhere it right here to the dash. So now we're going to reinstall our grill. We're first going to put it in place, hook up our electrical connector, and then install our 2 push clips and then our 10 millimeters. Now install our 2 push clips. And now I'll install our 10 millimeters and tighten them up with our 10 millimeter socket on our impact gun. That wraps up this review and install of our Barricade HD2 front bumper with LED fog lights, textured black for 14 and newer Tundra. Thanks for watching, and for all things Tundra, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.